Happy Tuesday, everybody. Happy Tuesday to you. Yes. Happy to see you. Trying to get myself straight. My chair is acting crazy. But it's Tuesday Thoughts with Colico Live. Hey! It's Colico. It's Colico. It's Colico. It's Colico. It's Colico Live. It's Colico Live. It's Colico. It's Colico. It's Colico. It's Colico. It's Colico Live. Hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Colico Live here. I got 3 screens going on because Instagram, Facebook, some other stuff. I just wish they would all come together. And I keep telling everybody, if anybody knows how to do that, let me know so I don't have to keep looking through 3 screens. But I am coming on today. I'm so happy to see you. I took a little break last week, but I did post a video. It wasn't live, but I did post a video. So I'm back on live today. Today. Anyhow, I am back and I wanted to talk today about trust and vulnerability. The question is it okay to be vulnerable? Yes or no? And if so, why or why not? What does being vulnerable do for us? What does it help? What does it hurt? Is there a way that we can be vulnerable with a guarantee to never get hurt? I don't think so. I really don't think so. I will say that being vulnerable does open you up to possibly get hurt, but it also opens you up to love others and to have compassion for others so that you can have what you need to make relationships work, to make friendships work, to prove that you are not just made of stone and really, really hard, right? I was talking to someone today and we were talking about being vulnerable and why they don't trust people. And a lot of times people don't trust people because of past experiences, because of things that they have in their minds, maybe something they've heard somewhere that they think someone else does that may affect them. But trust is a really, really big thing. And I was researching some stuff and I saw that in the past 10 years, 10, trust has become one of the biggest issues when it comes to counseling and when it comes to mental health and people not being able to move forward in life because they don't trust people. And a lot of times the lack of trust and leads to not wanting to be vulnerable, right? Because you don't trust people. You don't want to know what they're going to say. You think they're going to hurt you. But when you're vulnerable with people, that also shows that you are able to give people love that maybe they couldn't get from somebody else. And it's nothing wrong with that, but it's the fear of being vulnerable, right? We all have it. Nobody wants to be vulnerable. Nobody wants to feel like they have themselves open. Vulnerability actually comes from a Latin root word meaning wound, like an open wound, open sore. That life is just open, or somebody is just open, right? And we don't want to ever just appear open and uncovered. But let me ask you this. If you don't have friendships or relationships with people that you can be vulnerable with, there's a problem. You should be able to have some friends, family members, partners, husbands, wives, boyfriends, girlfriends, whatever, that you are able to be yourself with. If you are not able to be yourself with these people, then that could be a problem. Of course, we have people in our lives that we are not all the way ourselves with, because we do want to protect ourselves in a sense and shelter ourselves from some things. But you also want to be able to say that I have somebody that I can talk to. I have somebody that I can go to with the problem. I have somebody that I can trust. And if you don't have that, then you have to look at yourself to think, why is it that I'm so scared of being vulnerable? Is there something that I can have more compassion on so that I can see that I'm not this hard rock, that I do need help, that I do need someone to talk to, that I do need someone to lean on. And there's nothing wrong with that either. Another thing I come across is people who say, no one ever does anything for me. No one ever helps me. I got to help myself. I'm always doing stuff for other people, but nobody helps me. But then you find out in the background that it's not that nobody didn't want to help them. It's that if they tried to help them, they either critiqued it so much that people didn't want to be bothered with them anymore, or they didn't even tell them something was wrong and they just expect people to know. People do not know how to treat you unless you teach them. I know it sounds strange, but people are not psychic. People are not mind readers. If you want somebody to treat you a different way, then you might have to say something. If you want somebody to treat you differently, then that's the time for you to speak up. You should be able to have a relationship where you can tell someone how you're feeling and how you want to be treated. If you don't like the way they talk to you, say something. If you like something they did, tell them that so they know to do more of that. But I think people really get confused when they start thinking that people should know how to treat them. People are not born knowing how to treat other people, especially in a relationship. You have to learn that. That's why it's called a relationship. You build relations. You build a bond so that you know how to treat people. I have certain people that I know when it's a certain time of night, don't deal with them because they don't want to talk. They're tired. They're ready to go to bed. I know some people who are morning people, and that's the best time to catch them. I know some people who, if you look at them a certain way, or you can tell by a certain look they have on their face what mood they're in, because we've been vulnerable with each other enough to know that this is something that you should know about me if you're in a relationship. And that's not just a man, woman, boy, girl, partner. That's friendships, best friends, sisters, brothers. These are things that, because you've been vulnerable, you can trust your family member or partner to understand about you. But people don't just know that automatically. So that's when people get hurt. People get hurt because they think people should already know. People aren't psychic. I know you can do them dial numbers and 1-800s and all that kind of stuff, but people aren't psychic. People don't know how to treat you. And it's your job to teach them. Don't be afraid of that. And I'm not saying you're scolding people, but you are, when you get in a relationship with somebody, you're letting them know, I like flowers. I like dinners. I like to do this. I like to do that. Or I like to have conversations. No, you can't just be upset with me and not speak to me because I'm a communicator. Or I like it when we can have quality time with each other. Those are things you have to tell people. They don't just know that. But don't be upset when you tell people these things and they don't readily know how to do it, because they grew up in a different environment than you. Everybody processes differently. Everybody was raised differently. And even if I may have seen it done, doesn't mean I know how to do it. But that's when you have to be open on the other end to learn. If you're not teachable, if you're not trainable, then this life is going to be hard for you, because you're going to have to learn how to learn from other people. You're going to have to learn how to learn. Yes, you're going to have to learn how to learn from other people and how to take instructions, because before you can lead anybody, you first got to know how to follow. My old Bishop Harris used to say all the time, the way to the throne is through the servants' quarters. And even if you think about back in the day when they were slaves, they had to go to the masters through the servants' quarters. It talks about a lot of places in Egypt and pyramids, and not pyramids, castles, things, that's what I wanted to say, castles, where the back entrance was the way to get into the big gate room, the big great room. My language is messed up, great room, the big great room. But to do that, you had to humble yourself. So to have trust in relationships, you got to be humble. You got to be vulnerable. You got to be teachable. And you got to be willing to learn. And you got to be willing to teach other people. Okay? Vulnerable, teachable, willing to learn, able to teach other people, and humble. Those are the things you have to be if you want this whole life to work as far as vulnerability goes, because everybody is susceptible to vulnerability. No one is excluded at all. So I just wanted to talk about that today because I've talked to a lot of people about trust, and I don't trust this person. I got trust issues. And, of course, people have legitimately had things that happen to them so they don't trust people. And I'm not saying it didn't happen, but what I am saying is we need to learn how to work through it so that we can be better people for the next people that we get into, that we talk to, that we get in relationships with. That's what I wanted to say. Because hurt people hurt people. And people who bleed on other people. It's inevitable. So until you can fix and patch up your own bloody self, you're going to bleed on somebody else. Until you can fix your own hurt, you're going to hurt somebody else. That's why you have to be so in tune with yourself and be able to be taught, be able to teach others, be able to be vulnerable so that you can trust. Okay? So that's what I wanted to share on today. It's not an easy task to be vulnerable. It's not an easy task to trust people. But I will tell you this, it makes for such a better life. If not, life can be miserable. And you don't have time to waste. You really don't have time to waste being upset with people and not trusting people and living a life always thinking that you are the victim and somebody's out to get you. You're supposed to be living an abundant life. You're supposed to be living life to the fullest, and you can't live life like that. So I want you to really think about what areas are you vulnerable in that you can work on. What areas can you teach people to treat you, how to treat you? What areas can you learn from other people so that you're not as vulnerable or as mistrusting as you are right now? Because everybody has something. I'm not even exempt. We all have something. So when I'm talking to you, I'm talking to me too. Okay? So I really hope that this helps somebody. I really want you to look it up. Google it. Look up stuff on vulnerability. That whole thing, Latin word meaning wound, is where it comes from. Being open to something. But being open to something doesn't always mean that it's a bad thing. That also can mean that you're open to new things. You're open to change. You're open to do something different than you've done before, right? Because what does my shirt say? Nothing great happens in a comfort zone. So if you're sitting there comfortable and not willing to change and not willing to be humble and not willing to be a little bit vulnerable, then you're going to have a hard way to go. And I want you to have a good life. I want you to live and have joy. And I want you to be happy. I do. Because happiness comes from you. All right. So let's start trusting and being a little bit more vulnerable and start thinking about these things. Leave some comments. Share this to somebody. Share it on your page. But let's get some conversations going about vulnerability. Is it okay to be vulnerable? Is it not okay? Why or why not? And what can we do to change it? What can we do to help each other? Okay. I would love to stay in chat, but I gotta go. It's okay to have your say on Coley Cole Live. But if you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. All right? I love you guys. I want you to take care. I want you to have a wonderful week. Thank you for joining Tuesday Thoughts. Bye.